Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is October 7th. We're back up top for no particular reason. I did not do anything up here, but let's get into what I did do today. So I added some more machines down here for the monazite line, specifically a ton more of LCRs and then these two EBFs. I kind of regret dropping these two EBFs here. These are both basically temporary ones, but they kind of made my space a little cramped. But the reason I hop back to the monazite line is, so as I kind of said yesterday, my overall goal, what I'm pushing for right now, is the precision assembler. And to get to the precision assembler, let's see, precision. I really should start pulling this up beforehand. No. So I can craft the precision assembler itself, but the actual multi-block. No, wait. Hold on a second. Where is it? Assembler. Why am I drawing blank? Okay. Precise auto assembler. It's this guy. So specifically, I want to be able to craft the tier 2, which is the precision electronic unit casing Mark 1s. When you look, however, at how to craft these, you got a couple of different elements in here. So as I was going through, so basically what my plan was for today was to set up some mixers, which I did, and then just go through and start getting everything in here to craft, which, like, I've already set up this elite circuit board yesterday. We've got this ASOC chip set up. So at this point, I was like, I think I'm pretty much golden. Start just going through alloys. Well, the aluminum one was pretty standard. Nothing. I don't think there's anything of note. Just as I was calling them yesterday, the fluid mixers, where it's some dust as well as a little bit of fluid to mix it. And then I came to this double MAR-ce-M200 Steel plate. So this guy, I was quite confused at first because I could not figure out how to make this dust because it seemed to only come from itself. But it looks like to make it the first, and the main reason I was confused is because on my other computer it was only showing this top recipe with the over arrow, so I was having a moment. You need to craft it this way, which is this MAR-200 steel ingot and the ceruleum. However, if you notice down here, we got ZPM power, which I don't have access to. However, when I was Googling something unrelated, I noticed the Mega EBF should be able to tier skip. And I have the right coil heat to be able to craft it. So this might not work, but I'm going to try to set up this recipe to craft it here. So there's two components of this. We got the MAR-M200 steel ingot, which this one's a lot more straightforward. It literally is just this dust, which is a bunch of random stuff, but all this other stuff in here we've already set up. Like, say for example, where was it? Niobium, aluminum. Oh no, this one was straightforward. I think I think it was the aluminum one required sterling silver or something like that, but a few other like derivative alloys that made it up. So this one is like really straightforward, but the ceruleum is something I didn't have set up, and if I had just gone through and finished the side products of the monazite line while I was at it, I would have plenty, because it is actually this little branch right here. As you can see from these flashing and then these up here, I did get it crafted. There were a couple steps to it though that are not quite as obvious as what this one lays out. You actually have, or the first part being, you need to, if I were going to the line, go to the starter ceruleum. This part's pretty straightforward. This ammonium chloride, I forgot I had this set up on the main network, so one of these LCRs is kind of redundant. It's just making more ammonia and then ammonium chloride, which I probably didn't need to do, but I guess I'll just have more because it does seem like more recipes are needing them. So these two are kind of redundant and unnecessary. But then after that, we need this oxalic acid, which the quest book says is basically only used for this process. But to make this stuff, you need this vanadium pentoxide dust, which is vanadium in the blast furnace with some oxygen. So that was what this blast furnace was for, and I did set it up with a level emitter that if I'm under 100 to fire it off, because vanadium is another one of those resources where bees don't get it to me passively. So I don't want to run through whatever vanadium I have. Also, I'm kind of tempted to swap this to a ULV input hatch so I don't just have 500 vanadium just sitting in here, because I think I only have like 1500 left. Oh, okay, I have a little more than I thought. I have 5500, but I originally actually did use a ULV hatch, but then I had another moment where I couldn't get the multi-block to form, and I was like wondering what I was messing up, and it was because I accidentally put a air intake hatch here instead of a muffler hatch. So that's why I swapped, because I was like, oh, maybe for some reason these guys can't take ULV hatches, because I never actually crafted any of those till recently. I never crafted them when I was in the lower tier. My first hatches were both LV ones. So that was basically this line. The rest of the line after you make this oxalic acid is pretty straightforward. You just mix it with this dust, and then you ultimately run this through the other blast furnace, which is over here, to get this beryllium 3 oxide dust, and then just electrolyze it, and then you're left with this, and then this stuff can run through the blast furnace, and you don't even need to actually even throw it in the cooler. One of the other things I did, this is a real minor thing, but I did upgrade both these to Ivy, which I thought I was overclocking to Ivy, but I thought I had swapped these two Ivy hatches at some point, but apparently I never did. Part of with having that main power swapped over yesterday, I was able to clean that up, including down here. I got this to not be overclocked, so even if this guy is running into maintenance issues, it should keep running, because this thing outputs so much pollution, as you can see from this random sand. Over here, as I already said, I did end up setting these mixers. I got a circuit 2, circuit 3, and circuit 4. Clean these guys up. They are just multi-blocks on the subnet, like I've showed before. Put the pattern in here, blocking mode, second dual interface with a advanced blocking card, and then just storage buses on an input hatch and input bus. And then I did decide to start going proper and outputting these. Because if you look at the lower floors, I was using Ender IO to like bring these all back to one chest and import it, basically only using one channel. But that was actually kind of messing with me today. For whatever reason, this import bus here, I've swapped it to the bottom of the chest and it seemed to stop acting up, but it was on the side of the chest, and even though the device showed online there's plenty of channels over here, it was just randomly not working. And I actually had a couple, I don't know if that's like a 2.8 glitch, because I had a few other buses today that just randomly didn't seem to work even though they're online. I lowered the amount of acceleration cards. I figured maybe, I don't know, I was trying to pull the items in too fast and glitching itself out. Like, I don't know, I was just throwing darts at the wall, but it seems to have fixed itself. But because of this, and just for speed in general, I do want to move away from this and using output, the ME output buses and hatches. So I will go back through at some point and swap all these out, but I'm in no rush to do it. Aside from that glitch, this works for the most part fine, and it is still pretty speedy. And then little minor cleanups as I go. This LCR I fixed to the multi-block subnet route, because this was able to free up a channel down below. I noticed I had a random single block chemical plant that I had literally just oh, I have these in the wrong one. Rookie mistake. Oh, they should go over here. had just this recipe in, and I needed an extra channel because I did set up this MAR-Ce-M200 Steel ingot on this circuit, and this guy over here is already at 32, so getting rid of that chemical plant was able to free it up. The reason this one's on its own is because I have it on circuit 11, and then I was thinking about it after I set that up, and it's not too big of a deal, but instead of doing single EBFs for like recipes like that where it wants to be on a separate circuit, there's so much room under here. I can literally just do this kind of subnet setup for specific recipes. So like most of this is on circuit 1, and then I've got argon already in here for, I could just drop a different input hatch here, put it on circuit 11, and then put those recipes on that end patch. Well, it's a much simpler solution that I was just kind of really overthinking the problem. This guy specifically, though, is for whenever I go to craft this, the other one, the MAR-Ce-M200 Steel ingot that I'm trying to tier skip with. The reason I didn't end up getting to this today, though, was if you look at this recipe, you also need this molten lithium chloride, which, you probably figure, the proper way to get it is through this ingot to lithium. The problem is, even though this is just like a regular furnace recipe, I do not actually have this dust. So as far as I can tell, there's basically two ways to go about getting it. I could go drop a miner on a salt vein and then set up another ore washing plant where I pull lepidite out to go and run it through with hydrofluoric or chloric. I believe it's chloric acid. And actually, it was, even though I'm not gonna go this route immediately, I do have a plan for when it does come to doing that. So just real quick before I go over what I'm actually gonna do instead. So right now, the way I have these ore dictionaries basically for the most part set up the way the wiki has them, with some like exceptions just for my own like personal taste. Specifically diamond is something that I wanted to make sure was processed right. But the way I'm gonna do it though is, like, say I set this one up for hydrochloric acid. They're both of these are set up for sulfuric acid, which is kind of silly the more I think about it. But instead of doing like an input hatch with an export bus, I would do a input hatch, a couple of large ones with storage buses set to higher priority, with like then filtered to whatever ores I want to come to it, and then it'll fill up those first and process them, and then assuming that multi-block doesn't shut down, in theory it should keep up with this process up here. In worst case, it goes through the other process, which, because I assume at some point I'll need this caesium dust, for example, so it's not the end of the world if it runs the rest of the way through on the other process. But I only need a few of these lithium chloride dusting things. But the way I'm actually going to go about it, at least my plan, we'll see if it works, is this brown algae biomass, which to get it, I need this algae farm, which I assume the craft finished. The literal last thing I did before I shut down the game earlier, yeah, it doesn't look like it went through. Yeah, I did it right before I shut down the server, so it must not have actually, missing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I rolled back the server far enough, because I have actually set this recipe up, and then I shut down the server, but apparently I didn't wait long enough before shutting down the server. It doesn't remember me actually doing that. So what I'm gonna do, and I did set up a area for it, is I'm gonna drop that algae farm over here, just kind of along with this fishery one, and then see how it works, see if it works. I assume it'll be similar to this, where it just passively makes these random algae biomasses, and then go from there. The main reason is, one, I hate moving the miners. It would literally be faster and get me there faster, but if these algae are used for different things, like that'd be, I don't know, cool just to have them on passive. Worst case, it doesn't work. It'll just be another quest knocked out in the quest book. But that's my immediate plans. I'm not doing it tonight. I'm going to do it tomorrow. As you can see, I didn't really get too far. This sidetrack went on a while, which then led to the sidetrack of the algae thing, and I had a lot less time to play than I normally do today, so I kind of didn't get as much done. But immediate plan will be set up the algae farm, see if it works the way I do. Set all this quest. I only get one from this quest reward, but we'll see how long this takes to process and get me the algae. I might just go and run to a salt vein and grab some lepidite anyways, because I literally don't need much of this, where I just manually run it through a chemical bath just to get me rolling, because I mainly want to see if the tier skipping is going to work with this mega EVF. If not, I'm just going to abandon what I'm working on now and go back to progressing, but in this case working towards this right here, the LEV energy hatch, so I can just overclock versus tier skip. But that is where I'm at. I'm actually just gonna shut this down and go to bed. But tomorrow, like I said, I'll do the algae farm and then see what happens when whatever result comes from that's what dictates what I'll do afterwards. But I appreciate you for watching. Hope everyone has a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.